Salutations! Here I am, Professor Drew Bypass, reporting from Oxford University's famous TV studio to talk to you about the law of diminishing returns and how it impacts on your guitar purchasing decisions. If we look at the diagram, you can see that the x-axis here represents quality, whereas the y-axis here represents price. But there is not a linear correlation between said x-axis price and y-axis quality. You can see that at the lower end of the market, a reasonably small addition in price will get you reasonably high up the quality axis. However, as said price goes up, the quality does not go up in correlation. So by the time you get to something like a Gibson USA Standard here and go to a Gibson Custom Shop here, the price is quite an extreme difference, whereas the quality difference perhaps doesn't represent that. So to demonstrate in more real and more scientific way the law of diminishing returns, my colleague Mr. Robert Chapman and I will take you through 3 of the very affordable Epiphone guitars, the Les Paul Special, the Les Paul Studio and the Les Paul Standard, and demonstrate how relatively small instrumental price increments can be realised in quite a significant quality difference. Anyway, I've been Professor Drew Bypass, reporting to you for Andertons TV. Thank you.
Professor, it's an absolute wonder to sit next to you and play, and such a privilege to meet you as well.
I'm honoured to be invited to this institution of a programme. Such a shame that the captain can't be here. I would have loved to have met him.
He does send his regards,
Marvellous.
and he says that you're welcome to come over for tea and bourbon biscuits as arranged previously again, of
I
course.
do love a bourbon.
Yes, and he did like meeting your wife as well,
Yes.
so she could come as well.
Well, Mrs. Bypass will be over the moon. I shall get her to bake a cake.
What flavour?
Battenberg. So,
Actually, your brother said to me on the phone recently he was going to come over next month as well. You know Tony?
oh, my half-brother.
Yes, your half-brother.
Tony Woods.
Tony Wood.
Yes,
yeah, that guy.
Tony Wood. The
Yes.
other professor at Cambridge, the
Yes.
rival university.
Yes.
So, come on,
Well-
more of diminishing returns. It's
Okay.
an important subject, one that we don't talk enough about.
We don't, really.
What have you got
here,
there?
I've got a wondrously affordable Les Paul shaped Les Paul, but this is a Special 2, the Epiphone Special 2, mega budget guitar. Twin humbuckers, volume tone, 3-way blade, bolt-on neck construction. What think thou of the bolt-on neck construction, Professor?
Well, it's doubtless the most economical way to manufacture an electric guitar in these days, but of course not terribly in keeping with the sort of the traditional design of a Les Paul.
No, because your hand would knock against the sharpened point thus.
So a traditional Les Paul would of course have an arched top, be made of exotic and rather expensive timbers, and have a neck which is glued in,
Yes.
By hand and carved out and by hand, rather than a bolt-on. But of course, that doesn't make for an affordable guitar. So for £150,
You get a Chinese manufactured twin humbucker, 3-way blade, volume tone. You get strings, you get the wood. There are a couple of little tiny defects noticeable to myself, if you will forgive me. For example, some of the fret edges are a little tiny bit tangy. I can just see a smidgen of glue here. It's a bit dusty up here, but that's not a problem. But it does sound good.
It sounds mighty. I was watching an interview on my computer.
It's almost as if you can't see.
No, to be honest with you, I'm slightly short-sighted. I cannot see anything at all. Not that you'd know. Yes, the captain was interviewing James Bay, of all people, and he's
a right Bay.
The aforementioned Mr. Bay said that he actually, one of his first guitars was an Epiphone Les Paul Special.
Wow.
And, let's be honest with you, he's done okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's not going to hold you back if... hold back the river. Let's see what I did there. I'm sure it's not going to hold you back if this is essentially the guitar that you start. See my finger in front of my face. Actually, I cannot. There's about 14 of them. For a relatively small additional amount of money, about £100 more.
Wow. Suddenly it looks like a Les Paul.
Suddenly we have a guitar that does have an arch top, and it does have the aforementioned glued-in neck joint. So even though it's still lacking some of the features that you might... think of when you think of a Les Paul standard. So we don't have any binding, and we don't have the flame maple top and things like that. We do have, much better machine heads, better hardware, and a better construction.
Professor, your voice is changing gradually. I'm so. Did you grow up in multi different countries and sort of?
Well, yes. My mother is she is from Oxford.
Okay.
But my father is a well-travelled man.
Okay.
And should my accent change at any point, it is largely down to the fact that, yes...
Your father's travels?
Yes.
Okay.
He's distantly related to the well-known explorer... what's the well-known explorer?
Marco Polo?
Yes, Marco Polo. Yes.
The first one I thought of.
Yes, absolutely. And I also still get, my family still gets a royalty from the...
Uncle Travelling Gopher?
The famous mints that he invented. So, plug this one in, please,
okay,
so that the people can hear.
Well, but they haven't heard this one yet.
Okay.
Only we jammed, but let me just give
You're
them
right,
some...
we jammed.
There you go.
I do love myself a little bit of heavy rock. Do try this one. Now, essentially, the object of this experiment here is to say this guitar is not quite twice the price of this guitar, but arguably is twice as good. So, as you can see on the sort of the price versus quality graph, you're getting a lot.
Do that again.
Extra.
The price versus, that's good.
You're getting a lot extra. Did you know I was an extra in Madonna's Vogue video? Did you know that? A lot extra for your extra £100. Pounds. Try it, please. Give this.
It's much easier to play.
Yes.
It is forgiving on the hands. Again, at the top, I can just feel little tangy bits of tangness, but the finish is beautiful. There are no visual imperfections to my quick scanning of the eye, and the neck feels much nicer up here. It feels like it would want to... That kind of thing is nice and fluid and easy.
Tremendous. Well, so that's called the Les Paul Studio, and retails in this these fine shores for around about the £250.
Well, that's an absolute Jiminy bargain.
if we go another model up, actually it's another couple of models up because there is something in between, but I'm trying to keep this, you know, at the sort of the price points that most ably demonstrate this experiment. We move to the Epiphone Les Paul Standard with the coil tap pickups. So strictly speaking, it's the Les Paul Standard Plus Top Pro. Try saying that when you've had a few. So this is Epiphone really is their closest copy of a proper Gibson Les Paul.
Okay, let's give this one a spin then.
Do it.
Yeah, that really plays a great deal better.
So, as you can see, for about another £150 on top of this guitar, you're getting a guitar with a flame maple top, proper binding, coil tappable electronics.
And everything feels nicer.
Yes.
So the frets don't feel in any way sharp, the knobs are really nice and easy to turn, the body feels nice, it's all shiny and smooth, and nothing looks out of place, and it looks a lot nicer.
Yes. So this would cost you about £400, and it is around about the £400 to £500 mark that I think we begin to see the first signs of the law of diminishing returns curve begin to kick in, and you'll start to find that perhaps the amount of quality, incremental improvement that you get begins to soften slightly relative to the price that you're paying.
Is softening slightly things that you look out for a lot in this industry?
One of the, I think it was my third masters I did, was in softening things, yes. I have so many letters after my name that I have to have two business cards. One for my name and one for the letters that come after.
So what are the letters after your name?
I couldn't, to be honest with you, mainly BAs, MBAs, and other things. But quite often, some people say, see you next Tuesday. All sorts of things people say after my name. But to be honest with you,
Just
you
make
reach
them
an
up.
age, you just don't care anymore. What we're going to demonstrate for the last portion of, I love a word, portion, for the last portion of this video is a Gibson Les Paul Standard. Now, of course, this particular guitar is 5 times the price of the Epiphone Les Paul Standard, and most certainly not 5 times as good a guitar. It is a better guitar, no doubt.
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, please do.
cannot
There-
play.
there are
I'm
some-
sorry, Professor, but I simply cannot play with what is being shown upon the screen right now. Up here,
I'll be
beyond-
honest with you. With these glasses, I'm not. Is that a man straddling the Eiffel Tower, or is it a picture of Is it a butcher preparing some sausages? To be completely honest with you, it's times like this when I'm rather glad that my eyesight's not what it used to be.
It does.
Good Lord, it looks a bit like Burt
That's
Reynolds.
does look a lot like your brother.
Ah, yes, Tony Wood back before he was into. Good Lord, it is Burt Reynolds.
Well, anyway.
So,
Tremendous.
in your professional opinion, Mr. Chapman, can you understand why some people kind of do comment on these videos and say, you know, that's not 5 times as good as the Epiphone Lesbian standard? Or are you of
Absolutely.
the camp where you go, do you know what? The multiplier of how many times as good
Yes.
it is almost irrelevant.
Well, I'm not in the camp, but I would say that this sounds and plays better
Yes.
than this.
Yes.
Maybe it plays and sounds twice as good, but it doesn't play and sound 5 times as
Yes,
good.
and you certainly, in terms of features, it's not like there are 5 times as many features on here. I mean, you
No.
would have to basically say, and this is essentially the law of diminishing returns, which is that, yes, the products do get better, but by a smaller amount relative to the price, the further up the range you go. We've chosen to use Gibson and Epiphone today. It really doesn't matter which products we choose. We could have chosen Fender or Ibanez or any other brand of guitar. It applies to guitar amplifiers, it applies to effects units, all kinds of things. Gosh, it applies to basically cars, anything.
It
Clothes,
does.
you know.
Yes. Well, I'm really glad that you pointed this out because it is a very important thing to bear in mind. Working with one's budget,
Yes.
trying to acquire one's instrument to make one's job easier as a musician. And I suppose, what has it taught us? If you're on a budget, you're better off buying on that steady arc. And when you've got a good budget, you've got to be careful with that budget.
I think the point I'm trying to make is that you know, sometimes in these videos we'll take a guitar that's £300 and we'll take a guitar that's £3,000 and people will feel it's relevant to say, but it's not 10 times as good.
Yes.
And we're sort of going, well, it's not supposed to be 10 times as good. The fact that it's 10 times the price is not about
So
it being
you've made
10
other
times as
videos with
good.
us like this before, have you?
Well, I've
You've been involved behind
yes,
the scenes.
I've largely as a consultant.
I had no
largely.
idea that Captain Lee
Yes.
was hiring you. I'm very sorry.
Yes.
How silly of me.
So look, to jam out, why don't you stay on the standard and I'll stay on the Epiphone and we'll just have a little bit of a jam.
Okay.
Just keep that.